presidential election that was widely disputed as grossly below standard by both international and local observers, Nigerians expected a better showing from the Independent National Electoral Commission on Saturday. However, if reports from observers who monitored the exercise across the country are anything to go by, not much has changed. In Abuja, election observers who have set up situation rooms give initial assessment of the governorship and state houses of assembly election, as reported by their officers on the field across the country. For Clean Foundation, which focuses on the role of security personnel and their conduct during the election, the performance of the police is largely commendable. Clean Foundation says 75% of the polling units covered by its officers had adequate security.
Election commenced early in most of the polling units visited across the country. Security agents and INEC at-work staff were seen before 8 a.m. in majority of the polling unit visited. Clean Foundation observers report that 75% of the polling unit there were adequate security personnel. At most of the polling unit, 2 or more security personnel were cited.
It is gratifying to see, to be getting reports of improved professional conduct.
However, the Albino Foundation Africa and Connected Development contradict the Clean Foundation report. In separate reports, both organizations say the election was marred by extreme violence. According to them, the Nigeria police did not live up to expectation despite repeated assurances.
As of 11:40 a.m., TAF Africa's Persons with Disabilities Election Hub received a critical report of extreme violence from field observers. In Rivers State, a Mehua local government area, Obakri Ward, Rumuada Town, Hall polling unit, gunshots from thugs dispersed voters.
In Ebonyi State, one of our own, an accredited Usabe field observer, Uzodimma Lucy Ogodo, was brutally attacked for refusing to vote for a particular political party. This is unacceptable and against the tenet of democracy, which we strive hard to maintain as a nation. In Lagos State, Ojo Iba LCDA local government area, polling unit, Princess Enesi Street, Victory Estate, polling unit code 091 was attacked by party hoodlums. In fact, the pregnant wife of our Lagos State lead was attacked and is currently recuperating. We will not relent until we get justice for our people.
For the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, the high level of destruction of election materials, voter suppression, as well as low turnout of voters in some states should be of concern to all lovers of democracy. ActionAid Nigeria laments low turnout of women in Saturday's election, although the organization commends the early arrival of election materials and INEC officials to polling units.
When you talk about the opening material deployment, I mentioned when I was starting that's largely, is impressive compared to the presidential election. So that's compliance. And factor here is that we look at deployment starting on Wednesday to the states, which was not the case during the presidential election.
Beavers are functioning in 80-something% of places we observe, and there is a great improvement from what was experienced during the presidential election.
The Situation Room is particularly concerned by the reports in some of the communities in Lagos State, where there are traditional festivals coinciding with the election day, which is which discourages voter turnout and increases tension.
Impact Development Initiative reels out data and figures to depict the level of violence in Saturday's election. The organization says 67 cases of violence have been confirmed as at 3 p.m. Saturday. The organization claims 31.3% of the violent cases occurred in Lagos, while 64.2% were recorded in southern Nigeria.
Out of the 67 electoral violent cases we recorded, for the first time, we have 50% of these happening between 9 o'clock in the morning and 12 noon. In the past, what we normally have is that you have this spike around 2 o'clock when counting and sorting are ongoing. But we notice that this also changed, and some of them happen in the morning, most especially the intimidation and harassment.
For Yaiga Africa, INEC needs to take remedial actions in polling units where irregularities were reported, as well as ensure strict adherence to the election guidelines on collation of results.
Yaiga Africa watching the vote data center received 54 verified critical incident reports, primarily concerning intimidation and harassment of voters, disruption of voting, and destruction of election materials.
And this is why we've called on security agencies to respond promptly, because stripping people of the responsibility as well as the opportunity, to vote at this election is antithetical to democratic principles.
As Nigerians wait for the final results, many fear that the final outcome may not reflect the will of the people.